Hey everyone, Paul Barron here with some breaking news that's going to blow your mind. We've got some major updates happening in the crypto space that you absolutely need to know about. So here's what's happening. ARK just completely flipped the script on their Bitcoin prediction, and Cathie Wood just dropped some serious adjustments to her 5-year Bitcoin forecast. But here's the kicker. Stablecoins are literally taking over huge chunks of this market. And guess what? This could be exactly what's been messing with Bitcoin's price action, which is creating ripple effects throughout the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. Check this out.
Final question. Bitcoin down about 16%, I think, for the month now, past month. We're at what, 102 now, 103, something like that. Where do you think we're going? I know you have big ambitions for Bitcoin.
Yes, we do. I will say one thing that has shifted for us in the last few years. Stablecoins are usurping part of the role that we thought Bitcoin would play. So our bullish forecast out there is 1.5 million by 2030. Given what's happening to stablecoins, which are serving emerging markets in a way that we thought Bitcoin would, I think we could take maybe $300,000 off of that bullish case just for stablecoins. So watch that space. Stablecoins are scaling here, I think, much faster than anyone would have expected.
So, Cathie, this is news because this is a different expectation. To the extent that stablecoins become an even larger part of the market, would you take that? Would you take the top number down even further? I mean, if stablecoins do become this, the sort of transaction currency of choice, if you will, how does that change the dynamic of Bitcoin being the sort of digital gold?
So I was holding all other things equal. Digital gold, if you look at what's happened to the gold market, we were saying digital gold could usurp half of that market, or at least become as big, become additive in some way. So that's the other dynamic at work here. And the other thing is institutions, this is a new asset class. Stablecoins are cash, they're dollars. Bitcoin is a global monetary system. It is the lead in a new asset class, and it's a technology all wrapped in one. So while I say $300,000, that would be holding gold constant, let's say. Gold has doubled here since we made that forecast. So again, there are puts and takes. I just wanted to highlight stablecoins because they are happening faster. They're scaling faster. I think emerging markets are huge in this regard, and we're starting to see institutions in the United States focused on new payment rails with stablecoins at the core. So very interesting movement. I think the whole space gets bigger. This is, a global monetary system really going digital without government oversight, very private. So it's a very big idea.
Yeah, that doesn't change your view of digital gold aspect of Bitcoin at all, and that's not even related to it. So maybe you had 1.2 million based on digital gold and another 300 from the transactional. So I think I understand what you're saying.
And institutions really have just dipped their toes into this space. Right. We have just started, so we have a long way to go.
You don't have to ensure, there's a lot of things that are better than gold about Bitcoin, and most of the most important things are the same. So it's either better or the same. So it could at least be half. It could at least be half of gold.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, I'm pausing it right there because this is absolutely fascinating. Did you catch what she just said? She's talking about a completely new monetary system. The entire infrastructure is shifting, and stablecoins are becoming the backbone of this revolutionary financial system we're witnessing. Now, here's where it gets really interesting for us. Ripple is sitting right at the center of all this action. But meanwhile, we're watching XRP's price just sitting there, kind of stuck around the $2.17 mark. It's almost frustrating when you know what's happening behind the scenes. And speaking of price action, Bitcoin is doing this crazy dance around the $100,000 mark. Let me pull up the 5-minute chart so you can see this madness for yourself. Look at this pattern. We're going up, then down, then up again, then back down. Bitcoin is basically playing ping pong right now, trying to figure out where it wants to settle. As I'm recording this, one Bitcoin is trading just under that magical $100,000 threshold. Oh wait, now it just bounced back up to about $99,932. Whew, man, this is nerve-wracking to watch. But here's the thing. This cycle is completely different from anything we've ever seen before. Those new financial rails that Cathie Wood mentioned, they're being built right now in real time. Now, here's something that caught my attention. Ripple keeps saying they're not going public. All in Crypto just posted this clip of Brad Garlinghouse getting interviewed at Swell recently, and his response about a potential Ripple IPO is pretty telling. Listen to this.
Are going public in the foreign market still, or are you now more U.S. focused? Are you considering doing an IPO in the U.S.?
Yeah. So if Ripple were to prioritize going public today, we would definitely look at the U.S. markets. They're the deepest markets, the broadest markets, the most efficient markets. So I think we would prioritize that. When we were talking about that before, we actually had exchanges from other countries around the world courting us because the U.S. was so, I think, illogically hostile towards this industry. Now, that being said, going public still isn't a short-term priority for us. We always kind of keep an eye on that, and it maybe at some point we will. But for now, we're focused on building. And we have the balance sheet that's allowed us to make these multi-billion-dollar acquisitions and to continue to grow the business. We've also been able to return liquidity to shareholders. This year, we've completed over $2 billion of tender offers or buying shares back from our shareholders. So that's getting liquidity to some of our early investors. And so far, we feel like we're in a good place on that, but we'll obviously continue to watch and make decisions.
So nothing's locked in stone yet. Ripple hasn't made any final commitments on this front. Here's what's interesting, though. We've been getting mixed signals on this IPO situation. Monica Long mentioned going public at one point, and even Brad Garlinghouse talked about it before. Back then, they were looking at non-US markets because, remember, they were still dealing with that whole XRP lawsuit mess. But here's the game changer. If Ripple decided to go public today, Brad just confirmed they'd definitely be looking at US markets first. Why? Because the entire regulatory landscape has shifted. Cryptocurrency legislation has completely transformed. XRP is being used in ways we never imagined, and Ripple's partnerships are absolutely exploding. Speaking of partnerships, this next story is going to blow your mind. It's about Ripple partner Nubank, and guess who just jumped into the mix? Amazon. Amazon is now offering Nubank customers some seriously special payment options. Now I'm wondering, and you should be too, could this have anything to do with their XRPL connectivity? The timing is pretty suspicious, don't you think? Company officials just told Bloomberg News that this partnership includes expanded credit options for Amazon shopping, plus way more flexible installment plans. This is huge for Brazilian customers, but here's why this matters so much. This partnership is making it incredibly easy for customers to buy stuff and access credit. And if you know anything about the Brazilian market, these are absolutely critical services that people desperately need. Here's what a company official said, and this quote is everything. We're starting a very important chapter in terms of access for Brazilian customers, and we believe it greatly changes the way we work, bringing us closer to what Brazilians are looking for when they are buying online. This is exactly the kind of real-world adoption we've been waiting for, and it's happening right under our noses. Now here's where this gets even more exciting. According to the report, this new feature is rolling out gradually and will be available to all customers over the next few weeks. We're talking about payment options with up to 24 installments with interest. And eligible Nubank clients are getting access to additional credit on top of that. But here's the real kicker that most people are missing. If Nubank is processing these payments on the XRP ledger, think about how much easier and faster it becomes for them to handle all these transactions. This is game-changing stuff. When you can offer more flexible payment options to your customers, it becomes a win-win situation for everyone, especially the banks. And let's be real here, banks don't offer these kinds of services unless they're extremely beneficial to their bottom line. The beauty of the XRP ledger is its incredible flexibility. Whether we're talking about different types of payments, varying amounts, or different payment frequencies, the ledger can handle it all seamlessly. This is exactly why customers are now getting access to these revolutionary payment options. And the fact that Nubank, a major Ripple partner, is rolling this out specifically for Amazon customers, that's not a coincidence, folks. But wait, there's more. I also spotted this incredible development with another Ripple partner, Flutterwave. They're partnering up with Simplify for high-value payments across Africa. And honestly, it seems like Flutterwave is constantly forming new partnerships to boost their operations, which is smart business. So Flutterwave, Africa's leading payment technology company, just announced another strategic partnership, this time with a company called Payful. Payful is a global payment technology provider, and together they're working to simplify high-value payments across the entire African continent. Here's how this collaboration works. It enables Payful's merchants to collect payments locally, but settle globally through Flutterwave's incredibly robust payment infrastructure. We're talking about transactions that are secure, compliant, and efficient. Everything you want in a payment system. Now, Payful is known for their technology-driven global payment solutions that connect businesses to seamless payment infrastructures. They specialize in supporting large transactions and cross-border fund flows. As they expand into Africa, they're focused on delivering the same level of seamless payments that their merchants enjoy worldwide. But here's the challenge. Africa's payment landscape has been incredibly fragmented, and we all know about those obstacles. The traditional rails have never been as liquid as they are today, and honestly, the old methods for handling large transactions have been expensive and unreliable. Cross-border settlements? They've been a nightmare in the past.
But with Ripple partners like Flutterwave in the mix, everything is getting better and way more efficient. It's like watching the future unfold in real time. At the heart of this partnership is their virtual account solution, which offers a completely seamless collection process for high-value payments through simple API integration. Flutterwave issues virtual accounts to Payful, allowing merchants to receive payments via local bank transfers. And this method is both cheaper and more reliable than those traditional card-based systems we're used to. This is just another perfect example of the efficiency we're seeing roll out across the African continent. The transformation is happening fast. All right, let me keep this momentum going because there's more. Leapfin and Ripple partner Airwallex are powering smart revenue accounting that's going to help businesses scale like never before. Let me bump up the screen size so you can see this clearly. Leapfin's collaboration with Airwallex's global platform is giving their massive range of digital native customers the power to scale internationally with incredible ease and cost efficiency. So here's what's happening. They're partnering with this AI company for revenue recognition. And they just dropped a major announcement about a strategic partnership designed to help high-growth companies unify their global payments. This is big. The collaboration is bringing together Airwallex's world-class financial platform with Leapfin's incredible revenue data automation software. They're literally empowering finance teams with AI to scale faster than ever before. This is next-level stuff. Think about it. Businesses today are operating across borders, dealing with multiple currencies, and working with emerging business models that are completely challenging traditional financial systems. Finance teams are under crazy pressure to handle fragmented data, manage compliance, and support global growth while trying to optimize efficiency and speed at the same time. Together, Leapfin and Airwallex are providing a scalable solution for billing, payment collection, compliant reporting, and insights, all while using AI to eliminate those tedious manual reconciliations and enable real-time visibility into global revenue. It's like having a crystal ball for your finances. This is another one of those out-of-the-box partnerships that's catching my attention. You know what? I feel like partnerships in the past used to be so much simpler. Bigger companies would partner with smaller companies to leverage technology, and that was pretty much it. But now, we've got revolutionary technologies like artificial intelligence being thrown into this mix, and I have a strong feeling we're going to see tons of Ripple-enabled companies doing exactly this, partnering with innovative, out-of-the-box companies. And here's why this matters so much. Because the XRP ledger has so many incredible use cases, it's not just about payments anymore. I mean, sure, a lot of these companies do deal with payments, but we're talking about so much more than that. We're going to witness a lot more innovative approaches toward using blockchain and DLT technology. And most importantly, the XRP ledger leveraging XRP itself. More demand is going to mean higher prices for XRP, and we're seeing this play out in many different ways around the world. This is incredibly good news for the bottom line, for investors, for people who want to get into the ETFs specifically. And speaking of ETFs, Ripple just posted this amazing content from Swell. This is a panel that included Hunter Horsley, Steve McClurg, Luke Horston, and Bloomberg's Eric Belchun, and they were discussing regulated products, including cryptocurrency ETFs, like the XRP spot ETF we've all been waiting for. Listen to what they had to say.
Everyone should be unbelievably excited. It's all happening now. This space for the first time is going mainstream in 2025. Part of going mainstream means that there are people coming on board, incredible institutions here at Swell who are building services, integrating, but they're mainstream by definition because they're doing other things also. I have never seen it feel as inevitable as it does right now in this year that crypto is arriving to update the financial system and will be a mainstream asset class.
Everyone should be absolutely pumped about this. It's all happening right now, folks. This space is going mainstream in 2025 for the first time ever. And when we talk about going mainstream, we're talking about incredible institutions that were at Swell. They're building services, they're integrating, and they're mainstream by definition because they're doing so many other things beyond just crypto. Hunter Horsley just nailed it when he said he's never seen it feel as inevitable as it does right now. In 2025, crypto is arriving to completely update our financial system and become a mainstream asset class. And you know what's going to make this happen? ETFs. Now, Hunter didn't specifically talk about XRP in that first clip, but in this next clip, brought to us by Deep Sun, he absolutely does. When someone asked him directly if the XRP ETF will outperform the Solana ETF, Hunter Horsley's response is going to blow you away. This comes from a 2.5-hour video, and I'm just going to jump straight to Hunter Horsley's response where he was asked this question directly. Check this out.
Do you think an XRP ETF would outperform the Sol one that we just spoke about?
I think it'll be a huge product. There's a ton of interest in XRP, my colleague Matt Hogan, our CIO, likes to say that the death of an ETF is apathy. And apathy is certainly not one of the elements of XRP. There's a lot of energy and interest and enthusiasm. So I think, there's $100+ trillion that live on traditional rails. And more of that is migrating on chain. But nevertheless, there's $100 trillion there. An ETF is often the first time that much of those assets can tap into exposure to an asset. And I think if they have the opportunity to have exposure to and trade XRP, it'll be a very useful and high demand product.
Of course it's going to be a huge product. Of course. It's one of those cryptocurrencies that's actually seeing real utility today. And that utility is just going to keep building and building. This is huge. He's saying that we're currently trading in a speculative market. But this is completely different from when we start seeing real-world utility take over. Game-changing perspective right there. I want to give a huge shout out to D. Epson, Ripple, All in Crypto, and Paul Barron for posting those incredible clips. Now, here's something that's going to absolutely fascinate you. Wrath of Kahneman just brought us this brand new article from Bayberry Capital, and it's all about why XRP is massively mispriced. The insights in this piece are mind-blowing. I'm not going to read you the entire paper, but here's the killer opening line. The market continues to misprice XRP because it does not understand what it is valuing. That hits hard, doesn't it? When you get down to the fundamental argument they're making, it's absolutely fascinating how they're approaching this. Here's the problem.
The market sees a token, but it completely misses the revolutionary system underneath it. For years and years, the market has been measuring XRP by all the wrong metrics. Traders are looking for volatility. Analysts are hunting for headlines. But neither group is actually studying the infrastructure that's being built. This is the blind spot that's creating massive opportunity. Listen to this. XRP is not an entertainment vehicle. It is a financial instrument designed to move value with precision, finality, and neutrality across the global system. Its price doesn't reflect its function yet because the world hasn't figured out how to price that function. The article dives deep into how to actually value infrastructure, comparing it to the dot-com era, when it was incredibly difficult to value internet infrastructure in the early days. XRP's true function is rarely understood by most people, and that's exactly why it's been so misunderstood. Here's a key point. Liquidity utility does not trade like emotion. The supply argument completely misses the point. Regulation is creating the framework for utility, and that's the key here. We're building this transformation one piece at a time, and the regulatory framework is becoming clearer and more defined. The coming wave of tokenized value is still barely visible on the horizon, and we're going to see XRP become the backbone of all of that at some point. But here's what most people don't realize. Institutional integration is quiet by nature. Remember, Ripple still has around 1,700 NDAs. Maybe it's a little less by now. And maybe we've heard about some partnerships from those 1,700 plus over the last year or so. But this is all happening behind closed doors. We're not hearing all the incredible news yet, because so much of it is still confidential. The real moves are being made in secret. The article ends with this powerful insight. Perspective determines perception. The difference between a speculator and a true investor is the ability to see beyond this present moment. XRP's current market cap looks large only to people who are comparing it to other digital assets. But when you measure it against global settlement volumes, foreign exchange flows, and tokenized asset projections, it's completely insignificant. Here's the bottom line that's going to stick with you. The mispricing exists because the market still views XRP as a trade rather than a transformation. That right there is everything you need to understand about where we are right now. Look, we're seeing XRP trading in a completely speculative market right now. That's all XRP is at this moment, but it has the potential to be so much more. And personally, I absolutely think it's going to be so much more than what we're seeing today. Trading in a speculative market, as I've said time and time again, is drastically different from trading based on real-world utility. That's going to be a totally different game down the road. We can speculate on XRP's future today. We can accumulate XRP today. We can do a lot of things today. But right now, we're stuck in this speculative phase. And this is the big reason why it's so massively mispriced.
The market is valuing XRP as if it were just another coin, rather than recognizing it as a piece of revolutionary monetary infrastructure that's positioned to facilitate trillions in global flow. When the perspective shifts from price charts to liquidity mechanics, the entire valuation model changes completely. XRP is mispriced because the market continues to treat it as an event instead of a system. Trading a coin based on the price in the moment, that's one thing. But when you think of it as the backbone to a broader financial system, that's something completely different. Here's what most people haven't realized yet. Value in financial architecture accrues slowly, then all at once. When settlement across distributed systems becomes the norm rather than just an experiment, XRP won't need promotion or defense anymore. Its utility will speak for itself. At that point, the market won't be discovering a new asset. It'll be recognizing one that's been here all along, quietly building the foundation for the next era of value transfer. Mind-blowing when you think about it that way. Essentially, we have to speculate on where XRP is going in the future. Treating it as an event rather than a system is the whole problem here.
And when Bayberry Capital posted this incredible analysis, Shockwave decided to take it upon himself to run it through Grok AI. At the time of his post, XRP was trading around $2.29. He asked Grok to assume it's undervalued and use the research to give a correct valuation if it were properly priced. The results are absolutely stunning. Grok came up with several different scenarios, anywhere between $10 to $18,000 in a real-world tokenized setting. That's an insane range, but let's look at the more realistic valuations. For exchange settlement comparisons, we're looking at $36 to $53 per XRP. If we consider the Swift replacement model, we're talking about $31 per XRP. The tokenizing bridge model brings it up to $28. The infrastructure utility model shows $15 to $23, and the property value model puts it anywhere between $45 and $50 per coin. That's the bull case scenario. Even the conservative estimates are saying the low 30s is completely reasonable. Here's the kicker. At $2.29, XRP is likely undervalued by roughly 5 to 10 times relative to its functional potential once its infrastructure phase completes and real settlement demands start manifesting. So what's the proper valuation? At the low end for utility adjustment, they're estimating around $15 per XRP. But get this, if the market properly valued XRP's function today, discounting all the hype and applying actual utility metrics like transaction velocity and capturing global flows, a fair price emerges around $25. This isn't some speculative moonshot prediction, folks. This is derived from established financial models that tie XRP's price to its role in payment infrastructure, completely aligned with the emphasis on mechanics over emotion. So there you have it. $15 to $25 could be the fair valuation today. But here's what I think. We could see XRP go way higher depending on how it scales. Right now, we're still waiting for it to reach its full potential and scale properly. The real fireworks haven't even started yet.